At approximately 5 o'clock p.m. today, in this block of the 8700 block of South Cottage Grove, a black Dodge Charger traveling on the wrong way, northbound in the southbound lane in the 8700 block of Cottage Grove at a very high rate of speed, entered this intersection behind me and struck 7 cars. It then stopped in traffic facing southbound on the corner of Cottage Grove. The Dodge Charger immediately caught fire upon impact, and the 2 occupants of that Dodge Charger were pronounced on the scene. There were 7 other minors struck and 9 different adults. They were all transported to area hospitals, and they right now are being treated. Our major accidents detectives are on this scene and conducting a thorough investigation, as well as the medical examiner responded earlier and is part of that investigation. The Dodge Charger in question was reported stolen out of Markham earlier today. And a firearm is in the Dodge Charger as well. A long rifle type of firearm is in the Dodge Charger. We'll take just a few questions after the mayor comments. Mayor?
Yeah, just briefly, obviously this is a horrible tragedy, coming as it does on the eve of Thanksgiving. Our heart goes out to the families of the deceased, but also to the families, the ones that are injured and now in area hospitals. We will be providing support to all of those families. But I just also want to urge people, you have to slow down. We had last year approximately 150 traffic-related fatalities in the city of Chicago. We're over 100 already for this year, and a lot of those are related to speed. Speed, distracted driving, and other issues. But when you're going at that high rate of speed, anyone that you hit, whether it's a car or a pedestrian, you significantly diminish their ability to survive. We're praying for all of those that are in area hospital tonight. We're praying for the families who are no doubt holding vigil, and we're praying for the deceased and their families. But I can't urge it enough. People have to slow down. I am out and about all over the city, and I'm amazed at the level of traffic and level of speed that people are driving with. This is something that we can control. You just take your foot off the gas and obey the local speed limits. This is something that we're going to have to address on a citywide basis. But meanwhile, if people don't have more respect for themselves and others and are continue to speed at the high rates that we're seeing it, we're going to certainly endure more tragedies. It's absolutely unnecessary. Take your foot off the gas, obey the speed limit, and please, please drive much more safely. Thank you.
There are people who were out here tonight we were speaking with who said there are people constantly drag racing up and down Cottage Grove, especially in this area. Can you speak to that?
Well, look, it is a significant issue, and we're doing everything that we can, but people are determined to ignore the speed limit. There's very little that we're going to be able to do other than really get more aggressive about, frankly, arresting and locking people up. I hate that it would have to come to that, but what I'm fearful of is the people who are out walking on the sidewalk, crossing the street, or other cars, as we saw here tonight. We have just got to slow down all over the city, whether it's this stretch of highway, stretch of streets, other places where there's long stretches. Respect for yourself and the sanctity of life. Aldermen all over the city, I know, are flagging this as a significant problem, but people have to slow down.
You know, I was going to say, obviously, the message for a lot of families hurting tonight before Thanksgiving holiday. I mean, what does it say to you about the problem of reckless driving? We know is a big problem, but does it come down to road rage, speeding? I mean, is it just an overall problem that just needs to be addressed on a...
Look, unfortunately, during the height of COVID, when there were fewer cars on the street, we saw a significant uptick in the amount of speed that people were using to get to and from because there wasn't as much traffic. We have not seen the kind of decrease that we need to see and that we would hope to see. And you know, the superintendent and I will continue to talk about what's the best way to address this issue. But fundamentally, what we need and hope you in the media help us tell this story. Families shouldn't have to face these kinds of tragedies simply because somebody puts their foot on the gas. We've got to get people to slow down, pure and simple.
Why did you come out here tonight?
I'm sorry?
Why did you feel the need to come out here tonight? And what did you think when you first saw that for yourself?
Well, look, when I first started hearing the reports of it a few hours back, we'll wait for a second. Look, when I first started hearing the initial reports of it a few hours back, I was sickened. You know, anytime you hear of this kind of a chain reaction crash, the kind of speed that's involved, and fatalities, and children also involved, it makes you heartsick, and I certainly was feeling that. I felt like I needed to come out with the superintendent, with Alderman Harris, to really send the message loud and clear as the mayor of the city, as I've done at other times over this year. Slow down. We are losing people for no reason other than speed. That makes no sense to us. We obviously work hard on public safety every single day. It's the number one priority for me, for the superintendent, and for the entire police department. And we're not going to be content until we're the safest big city in the country. But it makes no sense that something that, frankly, we can control, that people are not doing that, and they're being reckless and getting into cars and driving at outrageously high rates of speed. And another tragedy has happened. Over 100 people should be alive today in our city that are not this year because of traffic-related fatalities.
Last one, the clock.
Superintendent Brown, could you speak more to the firearm that was found in the charger? Was
Sure.
that driver known to police?
So a couple of things on that. It's an ongoing investigation. Obviously, we're going to have to collaborate with the city of Markham and their police department on that stolen car that was reported out of their city. And so more to come on the follow-up investigation as it relates to what we're finding in the car. And then, of course, we're going to need to identify the two occupants as well before we draw any conclusions about that investigation.
Final one to Tribune.
Superintendent Brown, do you have any sense of how fast the car was going, or if it was evading or drag racing?
Right. The traffic investigation will obviously reveal the rates of speed. Pod cameras here caught parts of the accident and the speeds of the car. So as soon as we conclude the traffic investigation, then we'll talk about the rates of speed. I don't think this is the time to speculate.
Thank you, everyone.
Larry
That's
Langford said this is one of the worst crashes he's ever seen. You've been in policing a long time. What do you think?
This is a horrible accident. It's tragic, like the mayor says, senseless. And I want to echo the mayor's discussion about personal responsibility. Slowing down will save lives. Speed kills, and it did tonight. And it's senseless and tragic.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.